All right, meanwhile, the Lions looked unstoppable. Jared Goff goes for 315 and 3 touchdowns. Montgomery and Gibbs added 2 touchdowns. Defense was incredible, but did lose Aiden Hutchinson for the year. Now, news from Dallas that he had emergency surgery yesterday. After the game, the Lions locker room totally locked in.
That's pretty good.
Good
Pretty good.
Wild,
Yeah.
I tell Wild. How close to getting misty-eyed?
Oh, I watched it a few times.
Yeah.
You cried the first game.
I get fired up when Goff gives it back. I'm like, here, Goff. Were the Lions solidified as the team to beat in the NFC, Brew?
Well, I probably would say yes, but Aiden Hutchinson, the injury, you can't overstate the
Show the numbers,
value
guys.
that he has to
Keep
this
going,
team.
Brew. They can.
I mean,
pop it
he's
up.
not only obviously he was playing like the best defensive player in the league.
I mean, he's done what
He
the
and
rest
Chris
of the team
Jones,
combined.
right? And 7.5 sacks, leads the league, and you see it. They don't get many without him, and so they're not going to have that pass rush. Their defense, while it's solid and good with him, it is the weak link on their team. Offensively, they can do it all. They've got the run game. They can throw the ball. They've got skill position. The offensive line is great. But I don't, in fact, I don't know which way I'll go. But right now, I'm kind of leaning. They play Minnesota this week. I'm leaning toward Minnesota. So I would not say they're clearly a contender. Absolutely. But no.
So the last game they played before the bye, the question we asked is, do they have an argument they're the best team in the NFC? The answer was yes then, that they had the argument. Now, they clearly, to me, right now have I understand the Vikings are undefeated. I think, all things considered, the Lions have not only the best argument, but they are the
Even
current,
without Hutchinson?
Yes, for the time being. The team to beat in the NFC. Here's what I will caution. I will caution 2 things. One is this. They are also a game and a half out of being in last place in their own division. That division is 16-4 against the rest of the NFL. 1-1 against itself, obviously. But the 1-1 against itself means none of the divisional games have happened. Minnesota, Green Bay's happened, and every other one. So you have all these 4-win teams. The 4 best point differentials in football is the NFC North. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is a caution that one of these teams is going to miss the playoffs entirely. I don't think it's going to be Detroit, but they're going to beat each other up. The other one is this. It's this little football gods thing. I hope you have 30 more trick plays, because there were a few of those things that I personally would have maybe kept in reserve to use in a critical situation or in a game we're trailing where we need a spark. They wanted to really stick it to Dallas. I don't know how many hook and laterals to Penei Sewell you have in the bag.
I don't think they're running that. Yeah, I don't think they're running that against like a.
Okay. Well, first off, I just got to, do a very quick victory lap when I kept calling the NFC North the gauntlet. And, yeah, it's proven to be the gauntlet. But, okay. The Lions. Do they have the best, or have they solidified as the team to beat in the NFC? I don't understand why we're just minimizing it to the NFC. That doesn't make any sense. In the NFL, for sure. I think what they solidified, because in terms of, the best team, the team to beat, all of this, I think this season has proved to be so inconsistent. Teams all over every team in the NFL, right? Every team in the NFL, whether it's the Lions, the Chiefs, the Ravens, whoever. And I think the Lions know that based off of just how their season has unfolded, right? Overtime against the Rams, even though the Rams were clearly not that good of a team and so badly injured. A very bizarre loss to the Bucs where the Lions just did not look right. And then like a decent win against the Cardinals. And then they really beat the Seattle Seahawks. But the Seahawks still kind of were making a comeback and still kind of stayed in this game. And then, of course, dominating the Cowboys. And so I think what the Lions have shown more than anything to me is that they have absolutely the biggest punch in the NFL, right? They absolutely have, I don't see how the Chiefs can do what the Lions did offensively, right? I just don't see it. I don't see how many teams can do that. Even other great teams, like what the Lions did offensively is just unbelievable. They're so physical, so fast, so innovative. They're so prepared. They're just never outplayed in that regard, which again is why the game against the Bucs was so bizarre, and why I was hard on them against the Rams, because it was like, I know this is what you're capable of doing. Go out and do it. And again, it's not to say that you're going to put up 47 points on every single game, or you have to put up those amount of points in order to be great. But it was just like, I know what you're capable of doing. But the way they were running the ball, really is just the definition of beast mode. They're just such a ferocious team, and they're connected. They are clearly a family. I've used now the Lions in multiple videos to reference these teams becoming a family, and how well they're prepared and how well they're coached, and that is who the Detroit Lions are, right? They have this combination between Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, and it's just the brains and the brawn. It's just, Ben Johnson is going to be able to get all the fine, tiny little details, and Dan Campbell is going to drill it and have them practice, and demand that effort and that energy and rally the troops and the toughness, and they all buy into it, and it's so awesome to see, and you see it. You see the intelligence, and you see the physicality, and you see the work ethic, right? Like, for the Lions, they just go so hard. They're so relentless, and that culture just screams. It just screams, and it jumps off the screen, and it's just wildly impressive. It really, really is. It's just wildly impressive. And one example that I really stood out to me is Williams had an awful drop, right? Just a really bad drop. And it was funny because a previous game that Tom Brady was calling, there was a bad drop in the game. It wasn't with the Lions, it was another team. I really forget who it was. And they asked him, they're like, oh, would you go back to so and so? And Tom Brady was like, honestly, I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't go back to him. And I was like, yeah, I get it, but that's also kind of ruthless. And what does Jared Goff do? The very next play goes right back to him, right? And you could tell he wanted to get the ball to him. And that's leadership, right? That's leadership. And I love that from Goff. And I just love that from the Lions. And to me, that pays big dividends down the road. And so, defensively, they made Dak uncomfortable from the jump. Even the interception, some people can look at it and just say, oh, Dak just made an awful throw. And to a degree, he did. But it was also really smart defense, right? They pretty much, I don't want to say baited him, but it was pretty much the right read from Branch. Like, it was just smart, well-prepared football. And, and that's really what I wrote real big on the side of my notes, right? Just physical, fast, innovative, best prepared, never outplayed, right? And they just really are, right? They're the best in the NFL in yards after contact, right? They just go so hard every play. Again, it's such a cliche, but it's just every play is like it's their last, right? I mean, it really, really is. And I said this going into this game, that the Detroit Lions want revenge, right? They want revenge against the Cowboys. They feel that victory was taken from them, and it was obvious, right? They out the jump, they were like, we're not going to let the refs decide this game for a second. And they just demolished them. I mean, I watched that game start to finish, and I was just like, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. I don't know what's more impressive, what the Lions are doing or what the Cowboys aren't doing. And it was just, the Lions just played perfect football. I mean, truly perfect football. Every single play, every single drive, every single position just completely outplayed the Cowboys. Like, was there a single moment, a single position, a single drive, a single snap that the Cowboys did better than the Lions? I really don't think so, right? Like, I really don't think so, right? Even when they got to the line real fast and called hike before the Cowboys were even set up, like, to me, that was the perfect encapsulation of who the Lions are and who the Cowboys were. And you could just see the levels, right? I mean, you could just see the Lions just knew exactly what they were doing every single moment of that game. And it was just it just stood out to me. And it was just awesome ball to see. And I'm excited to see the Lions continue to grow, to play these other divisional games, which will definitely be tough, definitely be physical, definitely be hard. But the Lions clearly are a top team, not only in the NFC, but in the NFL as a whole. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Lions? Do you think that they're the team to beat in the NFC or the NFL? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.